Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm actually really excited for today's video. Today we are going to be talking about 15 makeup products that I just really should never have purchased. I saw Abby Williams do this video, so I will have her channel and her video linked down below, and I just thought it was such a fun video idea. And I got to like going through my whole collection. I was like, yeah, I really should have never bought that or that or that or that. So while this kind of is like a makeup regrets or disappointing products video, it's not necessarily like awful products. It's just products that, like, reflecting back, I really didn't need to buy, but they're not like so bad that like I want to declutter them. There's one that I'm like, but they're just products that I like in the grand scheme of things. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, do I really need any of my makeup collection? No, but these specifically, I'm like, I could have saved the money on that and done something else with it. So if you guys are interested in hearing about the 15 products that I'm like about, then stay tuned. First, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I hope you'll consider doing so before you go. And other than that, let's just get into the video. I want to kick this video off with the one product that I really like. If this was not in a project pan right now, I feel like I'd probably declutter this because I have given this ample opportunity to work for me, and on a handful of occasions, this has let me down, embarrassed me, made me look like garbage, and I'm beginning to hate pan this, which I don't like to hate pan, but we're getting there with this product. This is the Wander Beauty Nude Illusion Foundation. This retails for $40, and I have mentioned this in a disappointing products video, but I used this today to do my makeup, and I actually didn't even have this on my list to talk about today. But I used this foundation, and for some reason, when I use this foundation, if I put powder on over it, it like clings to the powder weird and then like takes my foundation off weird in other places, and I look like a hot mess. I am currently trying to pan this, use this entire thing up in my whole collection project pan. So I've like worn this to work on some occasions, trying to pan it, and I'll get to work, and I mean, there's been days where I've considered and contemplated purchasing a makeup wipes to just completely remove my makeup because I'm looking like a crepey, dry disaster, and I don't appreciate that. So I mean, so in the grand scheme of things, I just shouldn't have purchased this. I purchased this alongside like 4 or 5 other foundations. Did I really need to buy this? No, I didn't. And I shouldn't have. So in that same vein, I have another foundation to talk about. This is a more recent purchase to my collection. This is the NARS Sheer Glow Foundation. Now, this is a foundation that I've been wanting to try for a really long time, and I don't think that this is a bad foundation. In fact, it's really quite fine. But the reason I'm including this in today's video is because I just recently purchased this since the beginning of the year. I think I've brought like 7 or 8 foundations into my collection, this being one of them, and it's just absurd and ridiculous. I was so proud of myself in my beginning of the year makeup inventory because I only had 17 foundations, whereas like at my all-time high, I think I had like 27, and I was like, 17? Like, that's really great. And then I got this overwhelming feeling that I didn't have enough foundation for some reason. I mean, I had 17 foundations. That probably would have been plenty to last me over a year. But instead I bought 7 or 8 new foundations. I don't want to count yet. I just don't even want to know. This being one of them, and I think this is like $47. I really did not need to buy this. It's a fine foundation, but it's nothing special. So it's just one of those makeup products that I didn't need to buy this and shouldn't have. Whoops. All right, I have 2 primers to talk about. The first one is this one from Kasha. The reason I laugh is because this is just ridiculous. So this is their Dream Puff Radiant Mousse Primer. I recently did a collab with my friend here, Alex. I will have her channel linked up. I'll actually have her channel linked up here, as well as the video that I did in collab with her. But we were talking about trigger words within like the beauty community or beauty world that like trigger us to buy. This is a great example of that. First of all, I already wanted to try a foaming primer, which this was, but because this said radiant, I had to have it. So this, you shake up, and then let me just show you guys. I'm gonna do like the lightest squeeze here for it to puff up. That's what happens when you do like the lightest little squeeze, but then this like puffs away into like nothing. It's almost like air. Very different from the Origins primer, which also I could take or leave. That is actually another primer I probably could have included in today's video. Anyway, you obviously rub this around like you would a primer, and this gives, I don't know, like, can you guys see like how much of a glow this gives? And this has like, well, maybe it doesn't have micro glitter in it. I used to think it did. It's just like, I mean, beautiful, but at the same time, it almost has this like peach tint to it that's just too dark for my natural skin. So this just wasn't what I was expecting it to be. I'm gonna try and use this as an all over body glow this summer to try and get through this, because this is going in my 20 and 2020 project. But this is just something that never should have made it into my collection. I have another primer to talk about, another glowy primer. And this is the Charlotte Tilbury Wonder Glow foundation. This is a $55 primer, which is just absolutely absurd to pay for a primer. Even though for some reason I have this weird thing about primers where I feel like I need every primer on the market. This is really nothing special in my opinion. It is pretty glowy as well. I don't know how well you'll be able to see. It gives a beautiful glow to the skin, but it's almost like too gold. Again, it almost has too much of a gold tint to really work and look like natural. And usually if I have a glowy primer, I don't want it to look super artificial or super fake. I want it to look like a natural glow, like just enhance my face's natural glow, so that if I want to just go in with the glowy primer and nothing else, or like a glowy primer and a concealer, I can do that. But I find that this looks a little bit artificial, and it was also $55, so even if it was like not that artificial looking, I probably don't need a $55 primer when I'm usually wearing foundation over my primer anyway and covering it up. Come on now. Okay, I have 4 palettes to talk about, so let's just get those out of the way now. First, I have this one from Marc Jacobs. This is the Smartorial palette. I just laugh because I can remember buying this palette, and I just remember my thought process. I had returned something, and I'd gotten cash for it too. I got my cash back. It wasn't even like it was on a gift card. And a normal person might think like, okay, like now I have cash back, like I don't have to go immediately buy new makeup. But I remember thinking to myself, I need to spend at least $40 or whatever I had gotten back that day. I was like, I'm in Sephora, like I need to buy makeup. So this was just a purchase kind of to purchase, not even because like I really wanted this. And this is what this palette looks like. Clearly this is an everyday wearable palette, right? I mean, I do work typically 5 days a week where I'm not wearing blue eyeshadow, so I don't know that this made the most sense for my collection. I feel like in its lifetime with me, which has been like probably close to 2 years now, I've worn this less than this many times. There are some pretty shades in this, and the formula is easy to work with, but this just doesn't make sense for my collection. I really shouldn't own this, but I know I spent $49 on it, so that's why I keep it. I should have purchased like the warm, there was like a really beautiful like warm brown one, and I was like, no, you have the Modern Renaissance, like you don't need that. But in reality, it would have made more sense to have that in my collection, and probably would have gotten more use. This really should probably just not be in my collection at all. Next up is a palette that I'm happy to have it in my collection. I think it's really cool. I like the brand. I think the brand puts a lot of thought and creativity into each of their releases. So I'm not mad that this is my collection, but like kind of goes back to the same realm of that blue palette. Like how often am I really gonna wear this? I really probably shouldn't have purchased this. It's the Melt Smoke Sessions palette. I believe this was also like $48. This is what it looks like. It's beautiful. I don't love the way that the mattes perform on this. The shimmers are just outstanding, but how often am I using shades like this? Like these three I feel like are like wearable, but they're so intensely foiled that they aren't even the most wearable. And then these, I mean, are beautiful, but like they're green shimmer shades. So realistically, I probably should not have purchased this, but again, I like Melt Cosmetics as a brand, and I'm happy to support them because I truly believe they are very intentional with the products that they create. They are very creative. I love all the branding, the aesthetic of the whole brand. So I'm not mad about this, but I really probably shouldn't have bought this. Next up is this little guy from Pat McGrath. This is, I don't even know what this is called, but it's this little mini 6-pan eyeshadow palette. It came in a set with the Pat McGrath Fetish Eyes Mascara, which is the worst mascara I've ever tried in my life, drugstore or high-end. Transfers literally down your entire face. It's the worst mascara I've ever tried. I'm sorry if you like it. And then it came with a bunch of sequins in the bag that got everywhere. And it came with one of their like eye toppers, which I also was not that impressed with. The entire set, I believe, retailed for $49, but this was really the only thing that I used out of that set. So for 6 little mini pans, I paid $49. And this, to me, is like a complimentary palette. Like, it's not like I really can create that many looks out of this palette and this palette alone. And on top of that, the shimmers in here are really beautiful. They're very intense, very foiled. However, they aren't like that Pat McGrath sort of special formula where they have like the shifty aspect to it. It's just a really foiled shade. So, and then there's a black shade in here. Like, I have a million blacks in my collection, and then a mid-tone matte brown. And the mattes are nice. They perform nicely. I didn't need this though. And then the last eyeshadow palette that, there's quite a few eyeshadow palettes that I could have included in this, but these are like the tippity top 4 that I really didn't need. The Riviera palette. I've talked about this, I think, in a disappointing products video as well, but again, kind of thinking about me and my day-to-day eyeshadow preferences, this is not something that I'm really gonna wear to work. I mean, yes, I could create like a neutralish look out of some of these mattes down below, but I bought this so excited about the colorful shades, and I don't know why. I don't know why. Now, when I purchased this, we were going through the polar vortex. In fact, my husband and I can remember this specifically, were on a road trip back from Ohio. Back from Ohio. Don't ask me why we were there. We were on a road trip back from Ohio, and it was literally like -43 out. And I ordered this eyeshadow palette in the car, and I was so excited for it, and I barely ever reached for this. I put this in project pans to try and pan a shade or two out of here, and I just like, there's no pan. I'm not using this that much, so this definitely was an unnecessary purchase. I've actually had a ton of fun doing this video. I like cannot wait to do this probably again next year, because I'm sure there'll be a bunch more unnecessary purchases that I make throughout 2020, and also that I kind of find throughout my collection this year too. I have a couple of face palettes to talk about next. So up first, I have this one from Beauty Bakery. This is the Milk and Honey palette. I remember being so excited to purchase this. I remember I saw the swatches of this and I thought it was stunning, but Beauty Bakery wasn't at Ulta yet. And when they came into Ulta, I was like, oh my gosh, the Milk and Honey palette, I'm definitely getting that. So I was so excited to get this, and this is what it looks like. There are 4 shades in here. It reminds me a lot of the ABH Glow Kits. I never reached for this. I think I've maybe used this palette 4 or 5 times. I feel like I've like said good things about this on my channel in the past too, and I'm just like, girl, you were lying. Like, it's nice, but like, these are not wearable shades. So we have this shade, spoiler alert, which would probably be like the closest to a wearable shade for me, and it is so icy white that I just can't. And then we have Oh Honey, which is a pink, which normally I love pink highlight shades, but like, again, it's just such an icy pink that it really doesn't work. And then we move over to Be Sweet, which I don't know if I've ever used an orangey highlight shade on my skin, so definitely not reaching for that. And then we have Queen Bee, which I'm gonna swatch here, which is this really beautiful like coppery champagne shade, but too dark for me. The one thing I could maybe do is mix Oh Honey and Be Sweet together. Let me see what we get there. Nope, I don't feel like we could do that. They're just too foiled and too intense, and nothing is a good shade match for me. I like nothing is a good shade match for me. I don't know why I keep this around. I feel like this is one of those products that I just like want to like and want to make work for me, and yet it still continues to sit and collect dust within my collection. Definitely didn't need to purchase this guy. Speaking of ABH Glow Kits and another highlighting palette, I have this little guy to talk about. This is the Sweets Glow Kit by ABH, and this is what this one looks like. And the reason I shouldn't have bought this is because when I bought this, I already owned, I believe it's the Sugar Glow kit, which has 2 of the same shades as this palette. And the 2 shades that are the same are Marshmallow as well as Butterscotch, the 2 wearable shades out of this palette. So essentially, I bought this palette for these 2 shades right here, Sassy Grape, which really looks like, you know, a highlighter that's gonna work for me, as well as Taffy. And we just talked about shades like Taffy not really working for me. Let me just swatch Taffy for you. It's really similar. I don't know how well you'll be able to see that. Really similar to that Be Sweet shade from the Milk and Honey, where it's like this orangey shade. And then we have Sassy Grape, which is, I swatched it over my owl tattoo, so you probably won't be able to see it at all, but it is like almost like a duochrome pink and purple like shifty shade, which was really popular at the time that this released. I never reached for this. This is another one where it's like, I don't even really know why I keep this around. I definitely should not have purchased this, but yet here we are. I have another face palette to talk about. This one is a recent purchase, and I'm not mad that I have this, but I definitely bought this for the packaging alone. And I really didn't need to buy this. I just have to do this because, I mean, how great is that? I mean, if I bought this for the packaging, I may as well show it off, right? So this is the Natasha Denona Love Glow Cheek Palette. This was $55, and this is what, let me flip this up. This is what this looks like. And it looks beautiful. Online, I didn't realize like how much glitter was gonna be in these 2 shades specifically. So you get this cream blush right here, which I never use cream blush. It's very glowy and beautiful. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it. That was not a great swatch. Really pretty, but I don't reach for cream blush very often, if at all, especially in palette form. Then you have this really beautiful highlighter, and this actually is really pretty. This is their Glow Impact powder. There it is swatched right there. It is a little bit dark for me, especially right now. Then you have your diamond powder, which is this one on the bottom. This is literally glitter with a slight pink base, pink powdery base. It's literally glitter. Like, I would never put this on my face. Maybe I can find a way to make this work in the summer, but I can't even really think of a way to make this work because of the like Barbie pink powder underneath. It's not really coming across on camera, but that pink. And then we have the Super Glow powder right here, which I use as a blush. I actually have it on as a blush today. And I take a duo fiber brush and ever so lightly dip it in this and then like blend it all over my cheeks. So this is gonna look super intense. Here it is swatched right here. But like I said, I do have this one on my cheeks today. This does have a very finely milled micro glitter in it, but I found that I can make this powder work for me. So really the only one that works for me, or that I'm using right now, is this. Granted, I could be using the cream blush. I could make that work. This again is just a little too dark for me. It's just, I know already I'm not gonna reach for this one that often. I really should not have purchased this. $55 for cute packaging, like, no, Steph. Get it together. So then in the same vein as glowy blushes, Kathleen Light sold me on this, and this looked so beautiful on her skin. I don't know if I'm like doing something wrong and remain to do things wrong with this, but I cannot get this to do what this does for Kathleen Lights. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Glowgasm Beauty Light Wand. This is like a cream, liquidy cream blush slash highlight. So it comes on this little powder poofy, and you rub it on, like you can put it on your hand or you can put it directly on your cheek, and then you rub it in, and it gives a really pretty like peachy tint to the skin, and it's very, very glowy. For some reason it just like never translates well onto my cheeks. And again, I don't really use cream and liquid blush. I have been getting more into it because of my Partners in Cream project pan. If you guys are interested in that, I'll leave that linked up here as well. But I just don't reach for products like that. I don't know why I bought this. I do know why I bought this, because I saw it look beautiful on Kathleen Light's skin, and I was like, oh, certainly I'm gonna look like Kathleen if I purchase this. And unfortunately, I didn't become Kathleen Lights. So $38 is very expensive for a product like this as well. I definitely did not need to purchase this. Next up, I have a lip liner to talk about, and most lip liners in my collection I could kind of categorize in this video just because I rarely ever reach for lip liners. And I purchased this one during a time where I reached for lip liners even less than I do now. This is from Dose of Colors. This is the Overdrawn Lip Liner, and it is a really pretty shade. I should like try and pan this or something just to make me use this more. I swatched it between my knuckle right there. It's just like a mid-toned pink shade. I think this was like $14. It wasn't too expensive, but I never ever wear lip liners, so why did I purchase this? Because I was bored and felt like spending money, which I really need to start getting away from. But this is definitely a product that I did not need in my collection because I have so many other lip liners that I never use that are like this same shade as well. I have another lip product to talk about next. This is from YSL. This was a very pricey lip product. It was either $37 or $38, and I just felt like I had to have this. I don't know if I think this may have been one of the first, if not the first product that I purchased from YSL, so I felt like I just needed a YSL product. I really don't know why. So this is in the shade 22. And there it is swatched right there. So this is almost like a lip stain. I can't remember what this is called. The Tatouage Couture Matte Stain. So it does stain the lips, and it shears out, like it shears out quite significantly actually, and it is really beautiful on the lips. I actually do really enjoy this product and like it, but for $37 it's a little bit, and by a little bit I mean a lot bit expensive for a lip stain. So in the grand scheme of things, I really didn't need to purchase this. And then for the 15th and final product to talk about in today's video, I have a very expensive highlighter to discuss. This is from Dior, and I actually have two of these highlights from Dior. This one specifically is in the shade 1, I believe, and the one that I'm not including is in the shade 2, which I love that highlight so much, which is what encouraged me or spurred me to buy this. And the reason that I'm talking about this here is because I believe this was over $50. It was either $48 or over $50. It may have been $56. I believe when I purchased shade number 2, I want to say it was $56, and I feel like they've decreased the price, and maybe I purchased this for $48. Regardless, this is almost a $50 highlight, if not a $50 highlight. And while it is beautiful, it is luxurious, it's just a champagne highlight. At the end of the day, it really is just a champagne highlight. It translates about the same as any other champagne-y, goldy highlight that I have, and I didn't need to spend $48 on it, so I shouldn't have bought this. All right, you guys, that is going to conclude today's video talking about 15 products that I really should not have purchased. I would love to hear from you guys in the comments below about some makeup products you've purchased that you probably shouldn't have. Other than that, thank you so much for sticking around to watch today's video and for supporting my channel, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye.